actually Vicious still in circle. I mentioned it earlier, that access to the Chinky Hill. They still have it, it's barely in zone, so they can get some insight, but you can see with the cars here, they're already looking to set up their rotation on phase 5. So pulling away, which is looking very likely at this point. And I think Aurora, yeah, they know there's one big threat to their potential rotation. It's going to be Arcred's compound straight up north of them, as you can see on the mini-map, or Vicious over to the west on Pachinki Hill. Otherwise, they can go far to the east and just send in a compound with very little information, which would be a risk to be taken. But in Aurora, maybe they're feeling confident after the early 10 elimination, which, you know what, would be deserved. You can feel confident when you have such a banging start. They pretty much eliminated every player that is dead in this match, so they are on an absolute killing spree. Gotta go. It's also in a sense going to be TT Project looking to maybe clash, but so far they're going to work together to zone teams away.
See if they can make a slow approach into the zone and keep everyone scared to fight them. You absolutely wouldn't want to turn down a dark alley and see this Aurora roster right now. How on point they're looking, top arm, the weapon is going to feel very comfortable as well. That can be another element to discuss later. Kvik with the shots up towards TT Project leaves Zerich in a hellish position. Just trying to stay breathing, trying to stay tucked in behind the limited cover he's got to his name. There's other squads nearby as well that could try and swoop in on this one if they do see signs of weakness. Defalt eventually being able to make the adjustment shot onto Zerich also, so that's the complete flush onto him, snatching away another member of TT Project and leaving them down to just that solo. Shots fired towards Aurora on their great migration. The car's burning, the wheels are popped, and the players are low on health, and Tapok will flush through. Good damage on Arifus. The rotate leaves them so susceptible, Max, and one by one we're losing Aurora quickly.
I think that's a misplay, a missed call from Aurora. I think you have to send in Arcred's compound, because if you go anywhere else, so many teams are just going to be locked on that rotation. And you saw here, I think it was, what, 2-3 teams spraying on those vehicles on march towards the zone. So I think that here, going for Arcred compound would not only be a shorter rotation, but also it would be way harder to third party from a distance. So unfortunately, it was just not meant to be for 3 of the members. They still have one. It is top. So we'll see if he can pull a rabbit out of the hat this game. Generational Miracle also near the Pachinki Fields. Got 3 members in the car. That would be 3 easy eliminations if one player has the perfect AR angle to spray it down. The top still moving around with the buggy here. Jackie, who knows, maybe can squash a player. It's not quite a hovercraft, but if you can find a good hiding spot, that could get some placement points on board. But everyone can hear the buggy. He's going to be spotted out from a mile away.
Audio cues giving the game away. Shots on range as well back here in a mix. The Amex on top of Goat Fight results in the stalemate for TGM effectively, with Amex being able to flush out a few of those points. But Force fighting. Ooh, quick twitch to the POV of 777 as we see some fancy footwork from 3TN there with the shotty up close, pumping his way through with a big buckshot and leaving 27 plus low on resources with only 1 player left alive. Avalanche team as well up on the ridge side, 3 of the 4 alive and kicking here. It's only Molodoy that's not in the runnings, and Groza looks to try and get gory. Exchange of nades, decent chip damage to make him crater away so he can't overcommit to the fight, and they should be able to attempt to reset. But that just gives a window for Amix to continue pulling no punches. Big knocks onto Goat team. They might flush the entire roster here.
Oh yeah, they're on a triumphant run right now. 6 of them's only down to a duo, but it's Devolt and Havlik. If there's any of the members you want to keep alive, it's going to be those 2. Who knows what they can bring to the equation in this game. So I say that also we're going to have a bit of a fight. It's going to be Vicious clashing with Afterlife. If you get one, it'll be Windy fully out for the count. Has 27 plus also eliminated, so that's not going to be a lot of points this game, unfortunately secured for the Uzbeki team. Avalanche, I love their position. I don't know if we saw early on the minimap that Timmy, he was in the fields on those dips, and he was really controlling a strong angle that was slowing down the push-up from both Goat Team and Amix. So sure, maybe Tommy wasn't able to get a crap ton of eliminations here, but he was still able to get the angle to keep his team in a very healthy position. So far, Avalanche able to be successful on those pivots. But Vicious on the minimap. to the west. They've got 4 players driving about, getting so much insight. The circle shifting heavily over to Pachinki Hill. Vicious, if there's any time for them to convert a game into a chicken dinner, it is right here, right now. We need to see this Romanian team take home the dub.
They got to come alive. They got to show us how much firepower they've got, live up to that name, and get Vicious out there amongst the weakened teams that are all currently infighting against one another. The barrage of mortar nades being cast out here from Destined to Rise, but all of it being wasted utility, with the movement from the sole survivor of Amix being able to keep his head down and tuck in further around the corner. That's Default, who can still be a beastly key member as well. You give him an opportunity to peek back when your head's turned, he'll rip it clean off. So they need to stay suspicious about him. They're instead going to turn their attention back on the zone with a drive up from Ralph.
Whoa.
Default spotted by Avalanche as the reposition comes around. That's actually Ravo as well in the back line there, somehow finding ways to be a nuisance.
I mean, that's not just an extra elimination, that's an extra placement point also. So that's really an impactful knock and flush found by that solo. Everything calming down. The one team again, if Aurora went for the push onto Arcred, they could have made it so much further in this game. You can see their position is such an easy transition, because as you leave this city, you just have a natural ridgeline created in front of you. The terraforming of the area is heavily favored for anyone trying to make an exit from Box Compound up north. Thing is, do you have the vehicles to do it? And I can see, yeah, from the POV of Glory, he's got, what is that, 2 cars, maybe even a third for his teammates. So they're looking so comfortable when it comes to vehicle percentage owned in this game. But come on, I mean, you look at Vicious, they got all of the ridge control, they're peeking with a third-person perspective, they got the vehicles to move around to keep themselves mobile, to make sure they are not an easy target for upcoming nades. If this is not a Vicious win here, Jackie, I don't know what is, because this, unless a massive fumble happens while everyone else is going to be fighting each other to the east, this would be one of the biggest throws I've seen in a hot minute. Come on. They need to take it.
Yeah, you got to grab this opportunity with both hands. One of the few chances that's been presented to them today that could save their running. That conversation of us saying if they just keep sandbagging in these games, with us now being able, it'd be a hell of a slippery slope. Whereas here, they can actually start to begin a comeback and even leap quite far up, with the point bubble towards the mid area not being that drastic. The difference of getting off this 13-point lead would be substantial.
They were low on ammo. Here, it's only a clip and a half available for the Orc of Icy. You need to be very cautious about how you use your remaining ammo. As Destined to Rise going to get pushed up, that's going to be a good breach from Arcade. Actually, a really good entry point too, because it's making sure that you don't get third party by Vicious. You need to take this one up. You need to win it dominantly. Well, otherwise, that third party opening is going to be available for Vicious. So far, it's going to be a bit of a trade-off. Ralph going to be knocked, and so will Darlings down to just solo Uzo. Swapping on over to his Orc. And things are getting a bit hectic as he goes to the Molotov in that smoke. But will tank the damage, and Butcher behind that tree might get mollied as Icy finds the knock. So far, Vicious in full control of this lobby.
And the vultures of Vicious able to just swoop around and encircle everyone else that is just scrapping one another, making it so incredibly uncomfortable that at a certain point, when their chips are down, they can come in to try and flush them out. Koa making sure he gets what he wanted out of that one onto Butcher. Groza will fall in the meantime to D2R. Tommy eating the nade of Narvalo as well as he throws it straight towards them, and the pressure gets so much thicker for both Arc Red and D2R, whereas Vicious, they are just expanding their reach over the battleground right now.
Vicious are counting the amount of players remaining in this lobby. They've got 4 players, meaning 6 players are still alive. It could be still 2 teams, or you could have a few solos, so you don't want to overcommit. Any push could really be your demise. Could cause your demise in these finishing moments. As there you go, that's a good angle for Koa. He's able to get himself one, able to convert a second, actually. Vicious looking to be the overlords of this match. They're dead set on getting this chicken dinner. And anyone going up against him is going to get absolutely wrecked. Put 6 feet under. That's going to be the nade. Koa in full dominant form this game as Destined to Rise are getting bullied over to the edge of the circle. Can he survive? It's not looking good as they're swapping on over to the nade. And that car is going to go up in fumes very soon. The nade is there. A nice throw. Will it get the knock though? It will not find Darling.
Darling. Ooh, 0.5 seconds of being able to get the meds off. He has to go for the reposition, forced out by the shots of Doran that will spook him. And it all falls down to the head-to-head then, with Arc Red being the side that want to upset Vicious. A team that's been running their way through this final encounter, making smart decisions. You've got their POV at the LAN event as well. In the bottom of your screen, you can see how dialed in they are. But can they capitalize on the hard work they've done?
They're locked in on their Infinix GT50 Pro. And the elimination spread, everyone putting up big numbers. Except for Narvalo, but he was playing a bit of a support off-angle position, so can't be too surprised about it. They've got to be careful, Narvalo, to not go too far. You could get punished, takes a bit of a beating. Still got 4/5 of his HP bar remaining. Demanding respect with those nades, zoning Glory away back into the shadows of this game. Arcred, the fact they still have cars, that could really be the difference maker, but Doran in the distance making sure they don't overpeak the ridge. As I said, that core is going to be knocked. This could be falling apart for Vicious, as he's going to be instantly flushed out. It's down to a 2v3.
More to be done here as the shots from Icy are on target towards Glory, but the rest of the team wants to go ruthless. Charging in, it looks like it should be a fairly easy conversion. And the Vicious, after all their hard work, the good positional placement of themselves in the zone, they answer the question, they heed the call, and find a way back in, Max. A chicken dinner and a pipeline to get themselves into a good spot in the standings there.
Cool. I thought Vicious were going to have a bit of an issue to wrap it up because they weren't using cars to scout proactively with the elevated POV with a TPP, but no, they are just going to be able to be so confident in their utility game and especially in their sprays and with the shotguns, they do take it home. He's even taking a picture, look at that.
Quick selfie, quick selfie.
Post-chicken dinner selfie right there for Doran, making sure he remembers this moment of absolute glory on Erangel. Last Erangel of day one of the finals for PMGO EECA, but look at that. Genuinely, I know I said it like 4 circles ago. If this was not a Vicious win, I was going to be so genuinely surprised and also a little bit upset. But the timing, they split in these 2-2 splits, even 3-1 split at time. I would say the way they were splitting their team apart, Jackie, was absolute perfection in this match.
Yeah, very fun to watch. Great to see a return to form there for the Vicious. Obviously, a side that we were expecting to come out shining very bright into the finals lobby based off their performance in Knockout. Took a bit of time to get there, but late is better than never, and they do start to achieve a few points then in day one. Comes just after the halfway point of the flow of games. The final Erangel going very well for them. In terms of the breakdown, again, you can see Icy being a key force on this team, hitting some beautiful shots.
Yeah, able to get himself some good angles the entirety of this game. 61 eliminations on board, of course, one of those being a quad that got flushed out, unfortunately, for the Vicious. But it's good time to see them get a comeback here. I was a little bit scared, like, oh, they got no placement points. They went from no placement points over 3 games here to get themselves 10 with that chicken dinner. So infinitely more placement points technically compared to their first 3 matches. So good step up from them. Of course, 1 win is good to see. We need to see a bit of a follow-up, right? Even if you just get top 5s and a few eliminations, that is going to be fine for me. But Vicious, we know this is one of the best teams in this lobby. We want to see if they can convert even more top finishes in these matches in the finals. As our MVP of the game is going to be good old Icy. And Icy, I've been here since the start of his career until today. And Jackie, genuinely, he's one of the best players in the bloody region here of Eastern Europe. And it's good to see his name again showing up on these rankings.
Yeah, very, very fun individual to watch. You know, super talented, always being able to hit the mark no matter what range someone is. It feels like his tracking and his tracing are just on point. So, yeah, awesome to see him get his flowers on that one. And way better to finally have an opportunity where we can focus on the Vicious a bit, right? We're seeing him in real life. We're seeing some of that energy there. I love to see it, bud.
Doc is docketing on the graphics too. He's just like, I'm just here. I guess 18 minutes of hyper time and 6 minutes. Sorry for interrupting your point, but I just find it so funny, man. You keep like, oh, it's a funny thing how docketing, haha, but it really is a thing. It's been proven by science.
Yeah, no, it's true. It always comes to fruition. I mean, hell, literally in that game, like, he had all of the elims for the team.
Yeah.
Even if he wasn't getting all the damage, he was the one that was flushing them out. I think there was like one elim that went to one of the other players. So goes to show that, you know, big start from Aurora. It mostly done off the back of a very aggressive dock once again.
Yeah, the entire team are like, please, sir, can we have some more? No! They're all for me! my elimination! Elimination steal, elimination steal, elimination steal. That is typical Doc fashion as we go and check out some of the good old replays of this game. And yeah, from the get-go, we had some fun fights in yellows. You can see this is how Aurora won it. Initially, it was a champions fight up against Mad Esports, and they kind of just surround it in a 2-2 split and get himself a really good engagement. So that really put this game off to a good start for the Mongolian team. Though, I want to see, hopefully in these replays, we're going to see the POV of Vicious, because they had complete overview of basically any fight happening. They were the true overlords of this lobby, which if you were in that game, chances are you were spotted out at one point by Vicious. So yeah, the scouting, the position, everything was just beautifully executed from start to the end of this game for the Romanian team.
Yeah, saying salut to the competition. That's hello in Romanian.
French. What is it?
No, salute. Yeah.
Oh, that's also high in French. I was like, that's
there you go.
Novalo is French, so technically, actually, he could. Yeah, that's good.
I guess it works. It works for both sides of the coins, Max. Yeah. Bloody hell. Okay, we both learnt something on that one. That's fun. But yeah, dude, saying hello to the competition in fine form, which I'm really glad to see, Max. I was a bit worried. You know, it's kind of similar to what we had with the Amix situation, right? Where it felt like you always want, you're always sat on the edge of your seat expecting, and then it just doesn't come through. It doesn't start. So really glad to see Vicious showing up here. Again, there's a reason why we want this team to perform well, because I think individually they're the sort of side that the bigger the competition gets, the larger the prize pool, right? You think about Jakarta in the future, if they're there, they will take that in their stride, possibly play some great global tier PUBG Mobile. It would be a shame to not have them in that position. But of course, nothing's granted, right? Everything's earned. So they've got to keep fighting.
Oh, of course, they've got to keep bringing their A game to the PUBG Mobile Esports table. Though, looking at the rankings, we did see a really good finish again from Arcred. And this is a team that they were in 6th place during Knockout, just behind the likes of Champions Esport, and did so well during also the next stage, which was going to be Last Chance, LCQ, where they got themselves 2nd place with 110 points. This is a team that was looking good towards the top. Did they have what it takes to maybe be 1st place? I was a bit hesitant, but top 4, maybe. That is going to be in the cards for that roster. So Arcred definitely surprising me so far today with a few consistent points every game, it feels like. As here they are going to be jumping up an extra 5 ranks up to 29 points total. So Arcred really happy with today. But Vicious, that's the main talking point here, Jackie. They jump up 8 extra ranks, 31 points with that chicken dinner. Vicious are back in the race.
There they are, climbing up massively. Those 8 placements climbed will do wonders for the confidence, especially when you look at the squads that are only a thimble of points above them, right? It's not that far off. Crazy that the 2 in Destined to Rise is currently also their place in the rankings, bro. An incredible run of day for them. A team that felt like, you know, they were a periphery. They were on the outlier. Now, they're first and center. Very, very great to see that change of fate for D2R.
Now everyone's got placement points, by the way, so we can't use the point of like, they already know what eliminations are. No, except for Ozrox, actually. They're the only one missing out on placements. Even Afterlife, despite their back-to-back 0-pointers, will be able to get 2 placement points in these games. But yeah, Ozrox not able to really play their game, which actually I'm going to say the main reason why this is happening for them, Jackie, is because they can't get access to Pachinki, which was their golden goose the entirety of LCQ. They had so many good times over there, getting the loot truck for free every time, getting MG3s, getting P90s, getting tier 3 vests and helmets. Here, the loot's running dry, the position is running dry, and Ozrox are not able to reach the late game in a single one of today's 4 matches, so we need to see also some presence, because otherwise, it's a very short format tournament, and with the smash ruling in full effect, Ozrox might be fully out of the race in the next few games.
Yeah, it could slip away from them very quickly. And they're a team that we were getting quite excited about as well, so it'd be a shame if the Serbian side does start to slow down and fall off. We'll answer those questions soon, though, as we get back into our last 2 games of the day. Double Miramar coming up following the break.
Start the war!
Hello everyone and welcome back as we carry on with the action here today. Already 4 of our 6 games wrapped up under our belt. We start to set our focus on what is yet to come. Of course, Max, the last 2 Miramar madnesses that are just around the corner.
Yeah, I was looking a little bit shocked there because I'm like, yeah, it is 4 games done. It went so quickly.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, we only played 3 games. No way, Jackie's right. But no, it has been 4 matches played already, which is crazy to imagine. But no, it's going to be exciting. And you know what's also exciting is we have another giveaway happening right now, but it's not a VSS skin, which is still available if you want to go back on the stream and get it. But right now it's going to be the Urban Herald set, which you can all enter the code on the redemption website, official one of PUBG Mobile, or you can also scan the QR code to redeem it right now in game. There's only 75 available, so you better be quick or you might just miss out. We'll also show a little bit later on in the broadcast, but some 6 skins are being given away, and we also might have some other skins to give away on the other days, so make sure to stay tuned on those other broadcast streams.
Yeah, definitely scout around, get your viewership distributed, enjoy all the action that's going down in the PUBG Mobile esports circuit, and put yourself in a good spot to not only get those skins, but possibly improve your game by watching some of the best in the upcoming scenes. Moving on, let's have a look at the schedule. As we touched on, 4 games already played, 2 left to go. Like you say, mate, moving quickly today. We join back with our teams, of course, at the live event. How are they looking at the LAN? Goat Team POV here, deep in thought, eyes on their phones.
Yeah, well, one of the members a bit, deep in thought right there. As you said, he's just a bit, oh, damn, it's Miramar. How are we going to play this one? We're not sure, though. Amix, Jackie, not to bring back bad memories as to how they used to play in LCQ, but Miramar had some golden opportunities. They could have gotten themselves that win. I think it was next to El Azhar just a few days ago, and then there was a big fumble. They sent, I believe it was also Havlik in that position, a bit too far. And then they just completely lose control, things go bad, and they don't get the chicken dinner. We can't afford to see similar mistakes on Miramar from Amix, so I'm hoping we do at least see them get towards the late game because they're all about elims. Placement points, it would be good to see some more on board for this roster. We know they can achieve absolute greatness. Though, here we go, playing high up in the sky. They're going to kick off on D+ Island right now, if you guys know, you know. And we're going to be shifting down south over Los Leones over to Valle del Mar. Chumacera mostly, which is going to be great for Aurora and all the teams that like to go for Parteno too, which we did have a team do that back in LCQ. I believe actually it was Motion, so actually no one's going to maybe do it now. But hot drops, just like Erangel, nothing should be happening in Phase 1 to Phase 2 of this game.
No, you should be calm. Should be strategical PUBG Mobile rather than instant slaying that's occurring. So it should be a little bit more calmer towards the tail end here, but we'll see if any shenanigans somehow pop up. Any caught off rotations, any missed mistakes, if there's any dominoes that will fall and change the outcome on this one. We'll see which of our teams as well are going to have a better run of things. If perhaps a squad like Champions that started the day off well, but have quickly been following down the rankings step by step and really looking like they're struggling in the early game, might be able to change their fate a little bit here.
Hopefully. I think that, yeah, some teams at the bottom in particular really want to try and change their fate for the better. Just kind of change their future and just have a better opportunity to do well in day 2. Okay, this is a terrible Phase 1 circle and plane path combo. Southern plane, northern Phase 1, and it could keep on pulling north towards Torre Almada. So some teams going to have to be a little bit quick on that pivot if they want to avoid any early confrontations on their rotation path. But looking at the drop locations itself, not really seeing anything that could result in an early squad wipe. Maybe a few players here and there upon early rotations because it was very... Actually, you know what? I take that back. I was blind. Jackie, Valle del Mar, you got a full-on hot drop happening over there. It's going to be Afterlife, and I can't see the other team over there. They're hidden on my minimap. There are 2 teams indeed over there, and it's going to be Amix. Oh, no. Okay, well, placement points might not be coming their way.
Ooh. Yeah, this isn't the sort of fight that I expected to kick things off, to tell you the truth. But let's see who walks away in a better position off the back of it. Zixi with a nade straight over onto Havlik. Going to land that one. It's a 1-for-1 trade thus far, but potential to pick Misha back up, so it isn't the end of the world for the Afterlife team. This could be a way for them to get some early points. For Amix, don't let it all blow up in your face. See if they can find a way to fight back.
Vengeance is a dish best served cold, and right now, Afterlife are looking to avenge themselves after being eliminated just a few games ago on a wrangle by Amix. They got 4 eliminations, Amix, 0 headed the way of Afterlife, and also a 0-pointer. So this is their way of showing they can indeed take a 4v4 fight the way of Amix. They are going to be quite split. Same for Zixi, as Spike going to be spotted away with the DBS. Really good knock found. And now's the time to go on a full aggression mode. You have the man advantage. They're going to surround it here in the building, able to find a third. Amix falling apart. And even as I say that, in the background, you have that final elimination right onto that solo. And that is going to be Amix fully eliminated. Zixi with the UMP doing the work on default. And yeah, it seems like they cannot get to these late game scenarios, Jackie. And Afterlife did get their revenge.
Damn, yeah, there you go. Okay, you drop on us, we'll give you the business then. So for Amix, Battleground that at times has boded better for them of Miramar will once again be an early grave for this roster. So in 9th place with 24 points, and a lot of teams very close to being able to thrust themselves quite further up the standings with one good game nearby. This could leave them in the dust a little bit through really their own fault on this one.
Well, yeah, they've been looting up that loot truck. Not sure what they got inside of it. You do have, so again, if you guys are unaware of where the loot trucks go on Miramar in particular, one goes around Crater Field, one goes around the area of Picado, San Martin, around there, all around Power Grid, one goes around Los Leones, and one goes on the southern island of Minas del Sur. So teams that do drop around there, like Goat, for example, also got himself access to the very easy early loot truck of Los Leones. Hopefully, they've got themselves some good airdrop weapons like the P90. Though DG77, again, an early altercation. Really struggling to keep 4 players alive later on in these matches. Those up against Ozorox that have yet to secure a single placement point. Hopefully, this is going to be a turn for them. Able to kind of get themselves some points on board. But DG, sure, it's a duo. It's a DRAM pre-pop, but Zadira in particular has been an absolute destructive force on the battlegrounds. Play you don't want to underestimate. As Ozorox looking to now make their push into the building of the opposition. This is a fight that, again, I'm not happy seeing happening at this stage, Jackie, but the Ozorox are the one who initiated it, and it was off to a good start as the Gyro finds an amazing opening knock, but Melaz will get the counter as a knock on pre-pod will also come through.
Oh, Zazira moving differently though. It's a nice lineup with the arc on the nade, great use of the trigonometry, and then the trigger discipline on the peak behind the vehicle. Ooh, keeps him guessing, tries to shut down another man, but comes unstuck. So DG77, what looked like a good answer back, quickly results in another one of our teams that we expect great things from, being removed from the battleground in mere moments into this game.
Wait, destined to rise on our third partying it. So, okay, well, no break apparently for Ozorox yet. Back to the POV, and that's going to be just Milas standing in a 1v4. Not going to be looking good, though, holding the staircases with the smoke of Longhouse. It's going to be a tough one. Good Molotov, by the way. They're able to get some good tick damage onto Ralph, though it will not be enough. Just a slight scratch onto their armor, and that is going to be game over for now 3 teams on Miramar. I thought this was going to be off to a slow start as expected on the Dusty Dunes, Jackie, but no, we already lost Ozorox, DG77, Amix, and maybe Vicious or the likes of TT Project. What is going on?
I don't know, dude. This is ridiculous. Early fights all over the shop. We thought it would be calm. We thought it would be teams playing reserve, looking for late game placements and some big points on this one. Instead, it's some of our biggest squads going head to head versus one another. I mean, even TT here barely limping away from being crashed down upon by the might of Vicious as they escape with only 2 players left alive. Neos and Zerich got to bail out as well and be picked up there. Passenger as they just peace out.
It sucks for TT Project in particular because they did win a game around water treatment, right? It was, I think it was Aurora remaining at the end there, and there was also no, it was TT Project and also DG77 at the end of that game, and there was also a few players, I think, of Amix at the end of that match, and they were able to win it. So it's very unfortunate. They were hoping to do well off the back of this because they've had success here in the past. But down to a duo, Zerich, Neos, they're good players. Are they good enough to take a 2 versus, what is that, 48 players? I doubt so. Will be a bit rough. As now teams that have yet to make their push into the zone are going to be Avalanche, Afterlife, Aurora Gaming, 777, and 27 Plus. So they're slowly going to be making their ascent down south and over to the west for Avalanche in particular. But water treatment's always good area to see games head towards on Miramar, because it really forces your IGL and the entirety of your team really to showcase their map knowledge. Do you know where the good dips, the good footholds are in this circle, and can you use it to its full potential to not only gather information but also have a bit of an advantage against teams that maybe are pushing on you, or when you decide to push certain locations? So this is a circle that is really going to show who are the best macro-wise in this Miramar lobby.
Yeah, who's going to be the most on point when all sides are tested? Got to have the best head on your shoulders in a lobby like this with how competitive it's been, but with the amount of infighting we're seeing with a lot of our top teams willing to really run some big risks, it does potentially make it a little bit easier for our periphery teams to climb on this one. You look at that sort of mid-portion there, from 6th to 8th, right? Even sort of 5th, with the Vicious being in close proximity in terms of the point scorer. You have one big affair on this one. You can rocket into a far better position, looking relatively comfortable with only one game left to go today before we run it back for day 2 tomorrow. Everyone moving their way up towards the zone now. 777 coming in. You can see down towards the north side there. They'll be running in on top of 27 Plus potentially. That had a good opening sort of flow to things today and then cooled off quite quickly.
Yeah, which is unfortunate. They had a really good third party opening on the, I think it was Longwood on their angle. Not the last one, the one before that, versus the likes of, there was Aurora, there was Vicious, there was another team also up there, and they had a good third party, but unfortunately I think they got a little bit too slow on that push up the ridgeline, and they just kind of fell apart instantly off the back of that. So, a team that has a lot of potential, I would definitely say, but not able to capitalize on that success that was created initially during LCQ here in the finals, because of course now teams a little bit more serious, a bit more desperate, especially being the top 4 teams of Knockout, making this lobby even more stacked in reality. So it's going to take a lot more for 27 Plus to get those points on board. And Circle did shift. It did pull towards the location of El Azahar, in particular this game. There's some really good ridges to the west of that city. I think Arcred are the one that have set up shop over there successfully, so they got some really good insight as to where teams might be rotating from. So Arcred, definitely keep them in the back of your mind as a potential contender for hopefully top 5 from the position like that. You would like to see it converted that far in the game. But teams around them know the value of that location, so they need to be able to defend it successfully if push comes to shove, because they will be tested at some point, and when that happens, they need to get the win on that fight.
Yeah, it's all well and good surviving your way through, but at some point, one of our teams will come and knock in. We're going to be ready to answer that call instantaneously. No mistakes can be made, really. It's such an important point of the day. Some teams on the precipice of having a good amount of distance between the squads beneath them. The others barely starting their comeback journey. So a lot riding on the Miramar action here. 27 Plus popping the tires of the Aurora vehicle and making it harder for that squad to reposition, even being able to follow through into the initial knock. So Joel exits stage left and Aurora fall down to a triple threat quite early here. Only 11 minutes deep into the action on their first Miramar today. Can they get any more? They're going to turn their attention, tuck tail, and try and split off, see if they can get to a safer location here. But getting past 27 Plus has proven to be a bit of an issue.
They need to be quick here, Aurora, because they don't only have 27 Plus right next to them, there's also champions north or west of their location, so they need to disengage, which they are doing. Dipping a little bit deeper out in the Dipping a little bit deeper out in the blue, taking that tick damage, but still phase 3, so it's fine. It's not going to be that much. when it gets to phase 4 and 5, that's when the blue zone damage is really significant, and you need a lot of meds to tank that damage. But they're going to go in mid-ast, wrapping behind 27+, but even then, you're still going to be encountering 27+, so they got to go for a wide rotation. You can't go for a slight rotation here. You need to go the long way around into truck stop. So Aurora, if they do die upon rotation, unfortunately, I wouldn't be surprised because this is going to be very, very hard to execute. As teams that are looking to be in a very healthy position is going to be destined to rise. And here you go. You got some players that made it over to the roof and also the first floor of Warehouse, which is not easy to access usually. So that extra bit of elevation on the flat terrain around it could really be a big advantage if any team looks to encroach on their terrain. So actually, Destined to Rise, we're really showing some good knowledge of these buildings and how to use every position to its full potential.
Tommy in the Elim feed once again as well, up against TGM. TGM, in terms of some of the initial flow we had today, it felt like they were living up to their old tricks. They had good control over some of the drops that they wanted. They were getting the loot trucks. They were easing in, but never quite blossoming in the same way. Whereas Avalanche, to stark contrast, they look very consistent in today's games. And again, look to follow through with some additional damage here onto TGM. Shots out look good. Nice bit of damage there.
Able to get himself a bit of an engage. Nicely done. Demo knocked on down. That's going to be a nice flush. Ruzen securing his first elimination of Miramar. If you are champions, yeah, definitely not worth committing to it. You're still not going to be in a comfortable position in zone. So better to completely disengage that altercation. That's vicious here. That's going to be another big fight next to Cruz del Valle. So far, off to a decent start. Able to get a good knock here. It's going to be Koa, though, going to put their focus onto Absolute. He's around the corner, cooking his own nade. Got to be careful you can't get for that revive in the building. Got to make sure you eliminate him because that nade might do a lot of work, a lot of damage. Absolute looking to go for the push. He's on the offensive with a UMP in hand. The nade is beautifully cooked from Icy, and this guy, not only does he have the spray and the shotgun skills to back it up, but also he is such a good jack of all trades. That utility is so strong in his hands. Though Novallo next to full. Dora Novallo in a really tricky spot, might get flushed out. Put so low actually for Novallo, and he's going to be fully eliminated out of this game. Though it will be Icy to wrap things up with a cherry on top and get those 6 eliminations to kick off this Miramar match.
It's coming out swinging. Vicious, carrying on from the good spring in their step that we had just seen. Bodes well for fans of the roster. D2R as well, still trying to keep their heads above water, adding to their overall collection of elims. But 2 players do fall in the scrap over the long house. Revo with a nade being primed. If you can get that on target through the doorway, that could be 2 smooth flushes, but it arcs off of the lip, bounces round the corner, and Darling's just waiting for his push. DBS spotted on the third person peek there. Revo back in through the window, switches to first person as he scopes up towards trying to punish. Darling will chase. Oh, you'd think you'd be able to best him on that fight, but no. Revo stays alive.
I'm going to say Revo deserves to go down because he made that jump through the window. For that alone, he should have been knocked and flushed. That was such a risky push into Longhouse, but he did survive a little bit longer than I initially expected. Still, the win will be headed the way of Destined to Rise. Hopefully, able to get himself a decent reset up to a healthy amount of members on their team. But Champions have a different plan in mind. They are looking to surround the vicinity, actually leapfrog the entire area of the warehouse and go to the east in the zone and just kind of hold off all of Destined to Rise. So Champions, sure, did lose a member in demo early match, but they're looking to get himself a bit of a comeback this game. This generation of Miracle. Puzo able to keep the dreams alive last game, right, on the wrangle. But here, he will be one of the early casualties for TGM. The elimination is in full effect. It's going to be 777. Arcred even overlooking the entirety of this skirmish as it's unfolding in the city of El Azahar. Whoever wins this fight, even if you do win the fight, genuinely, Jackie, I think you just don't survive because Arcred's position is looking to be just so damn oppressive.
And Arcred have been no strangers to being able to upset some teams as well. Squads that have been going on big runs, you run into them, they'll take it in their stride, shut you down, and turn you into more points. To avoid that encounter, if a possibility, 777 at least, shoulder to soldier, near the TGM roster. but at times have had some good moves. Issue is, it feels like they've been hit with a similar stick where they have a good early game, they're able to get themselves looted, but then as soon as they're thrown into an important fight, it just starts to fragment and chip away bit by bit. They're going to attempt to get that pickup play on the go. Meanwhile, you can see D2R have been spotted once again by 27 plus. And that has effectively ruined some of the players, leaving two of them trying to teeter out of there in the back of the vehicle to still be breathing into another encounter. Sanic spamming the smoke, expecting a potential push on this stairway, but this is free information given to the 777 roster.
Some good nade. Get a bit of a tickle of damage. Actually, that's going to be way more than a tickle. Sanic is going to get knocked and flushed down to now just Bullzo. He was rezzed up by his teammates, but he's trying to get a quick exit, looking to reposition, use that movement tech to hopefully force multiple 1v1s, but even then the shots just don't connect with the shotgun, and it's going to be 3 TNs, S12K to wrap up that fight and take another good elimination. So far, so good. 777 having a lot of wins under their belt today. But now, looking at their position in the rankings, then top 4 could be looking to overtake Vicious. One more elimination would tie them up. But, oh no, with the monster truck, it's Zerich. He confirms one, looking to find that second player. Just knocked on down in the smoke. Zerich, after 4 eliminations for the entirety of TT Project, Neos hard carrying this game.
Yeah, nasty Neos. Spitting some sick bars, making good plays with the elims he's finding to keep them treading water, at least in this dangerous lobby as it stands right now. Champions still alive as well with 3 players, something that feels like it hasn't been a very consistent trend for them today, so glad to see the roster is at least still in contest as it stands. With GOAT team losing a lot of their stock on one individual. You can see it's Moxie that likes to play ahead of the pack. This has been a common split off from him that he reps himself in. Very close down towards the setup of that duo from Avalanche in Butcher and Molodoy. So maybe he can make a move onto him in this situation. Need to be careful with the trade potential from that though.
I'm actually happy you bring up Avalanche. They got such a strong 2-2 split on the valley up northeast on that roadside. We can't see them right now on their POV, but I tell you that 2-2 split, if anyone gets remotely close, they can get some good angles against anyone looking to push up on the area. Oh, 777, I really expected this to be a very hard transition to leave El Azahar, despite their win on that previous fight. Leaving this area is going to be such an almost impossible task at hand, unless you can really get on top of that ridgeline and contest GOAT team or Arcred. Arcred did move away, but GOAT team did not, and they're just going to keep on raining down this location, peppering bullets from the range. And GOAT team, though, still know this 2-2 split is not in zone, so they're just going to rethink better of it. Like, okay, we kept the pressure on, we sent the message, we also denied those cars, we popped the wheels, made sure they were not in working condition. So 777, you're going to be still wounded after that interaction. So they're going to move on back, and GOAT team looking to put now their focus onto Avalanche as another team gets eliminated. Now down to our 9 last teams, and all of those teams actually, Jackie, are the top 9 teams in the ranking. So this is a big opportunity for them to create a gap, and the bottom teams will fall even deeper on the leaderboards.
Yeah, you could send them spiraling whilst you actually leave yourself in a very good position come the end of this game. So one of the more intense bouts we've had here, cutting off the bottom members of the lobby and leaving only the top 9 squads, as you say, in perfect numerical order. D2R with a peek out. Ralph, usually good in these kind of situations. Oh, stepping stone plays. Terrified about the nade that's going to run into the building. The 1v1 versus Fearless. It bounces off the wood. Oh, it's not nice. It's not clean. And it's going to be D2R going down with Ralph removed by Kino.
Ah, the fumble while under pressure happens to the best of us. And here Ralph was just not able to deal with that pressure coming from the entire wrap-up of Champions. Champions, off to a decent start in terms of eliminations, right? They're up to 2. And they still have a 3-man squad. Did lose Demo, again, for no real good, valid reason early on this match. But a trio is more than enough in a circle like this to, who knows, maybe divide and conquer and get themselves the win. That could be good for Mongolia to finally get one. As Avalanche finally, you can see their 2-2 split. If you pay attention to the map feed, they've got 2 players south of the road, 2 players to the northwestern side of the road. Though, as GOAT team look to encroach on the area, maybe it would be time for Avalanche to regroup. But GOAT, a little bit pincered. They got 777 behind them. They can't show vulnerability. Can't show they're scared or otherwise maybe the entire setup falls apart. You've got to be confident in a position like this. but the circle is going to force them over the road. So GOAT team, they have to go for mad dash. They're going to send it on the roadside here, Jackie. It's going to be risky when so many teams are actively looking your direction.
Yeah, if you peek up and you're not instantly ready, the capitalization from this team could be on point. At least for 3TN, he's able to get the meds off in the safety of the limited space created by the shed over here, so he can top his HP back up. TT Project as well, eventually going to be making their move up this way, with Six spotting that out on his scouting mission inside of the vehicles. Reefer spotted there by Kino as well. So the Aurora roster that has been pushed around in this lobby tonight here on this map, struggling once again in their next encounter, down to just Doc. Focus with a flick back over onto 777, punishes them. TT Project removed by Arc Red as they started to advance towards them, leaving only Zerich, who is cratering into the arms of champions and will be finished. That's another one going down. Our squad's getting smaller and smaller.
Good to see, by the way, another strong result from Vicious. They got 6 of them. Sure did lose. I think it was Narvalo earlier this game. Yeah, it's just down to Dorian, Koa, and Icy. They make it up to top 7, meaning the placement points are going to start rolling on in for every team still alive at this point. 777, you have to make a decision. Or you commit onto Arcred's compound, or you push onto GOAT team. You can't just play it passive here, because otherwise your true late game is just not going to be happening in any confident way. They need to get involved. They need to pull a trick out of the hat right now. Actually, hey, there you go. 3K getting a strong angle onto Butcher. Doesn't find the knock. Actually, wait, what he does at the end? Oh, that was literally on the last bullet. Able to get the headshot onto Butcher. I talked too soon. As 3TN going to buy himself a little bit more time, but now his focus from that shed is going to be fully in the direction of GOAT. I don't think he has any nades. One nade would have been huge as GOAT team. Despite that smoke coming out, that should be an easy nade, and 3TN will fall the nade, hitting him full damage and no chance of a revive.
Focus with the molly on point towards 3TN, fully committing to burn him out then and leave 777 down to just this duo. It is still a powerful duo to contend with, and Warrior and Six that can get an awful lot done in the clutch. Star timing out on the nade as well, wanted to pull the pin on that one, see if he can get it on target. Casts it over and it's decent chip damage. Warrior taking that one on the chin. Left with a little bit of health and just enough time to top his HP back up before the zone starts to nibble away at him. Doran tagged as well by Fearless as Champions Esports turn their attention over to Vicious and see if they can capitalize. They send in the boys in the vehicles, closing the gap. Nades being cooked for either team as well. That one's going to be nearby Atomic, but he's able to smoothly shuffle out of the line of sight of it. Another one primed in. Koa cooking one of his own as he tucks further back. Icy forced to reposition to stay alive there.
Quick Doc update, by the way. He's in the middle of this circle, almost in the middle of the circle. No one sees him just now, and everyone's fighting over the ridgeline. So actually, Doc could survive very far in this game unless anyone pushes him directly, which actually, as I say that, Doc is going to start smoking his location, so I think that Champions saw him in particular. Arcred also going to be leading over this ridgeline, trying to get some insight and angles onto Champions, Vicious, and Avalanche in the distance. But for Vicious in particular, this is looking like absolute hell. You have Champions and also Avalanche surrounding your location. Sure, you're in circle, but you're going to consistently get peppered with bullets all over the place. So they're going to have a bad time surviving, as Doc was indeed spotted out, eliminated, and Atomic will snatch away that position for himself. Unfortunately, no extra placement point secured for Aurora Gaming. Good angles, good damage. Hard boy on Longhouse, able to get himself the sprays to connect at that kind of range. Impressive. Around 300 meters away from his location. It's Atomic here. Jackie looking to put those nades. That was the last piece of utility as Avalanche looking to just peek over the ridgeline, tumble down the ridge, down this hilltop, and able to get himself a great opening nade. That's Smolodoy once again on the money. And they still got the 4 players up, 1 player knocked. But that should be an easy reset. As Champions down to Keenan Fearless, falling apart here in this fight.
I think I'm back, Max. Can you hear me?
I think you're back. I can hear you now.
Hello.
Yes.
Okay, there we go. All right, no worries. Things have recovered. I vaguely heard some crackling of what I think was going on, but I can see we do have this final circle going down now with the 3 teams left to go. Fleek on to Force, making it look good for Arc Red as he'll punish Goat Team down a man. As Fleek swings back out onto the Avalanche POV and looks to try and put pen to paper here to write their funeral note into this action on Miramar. The crash up from Arc Red round the corner. Star with the DBS punishing onto Moladoy. Fleek finished off. Butcher and the rest of the Avalanche crew go down, and it falls then just onto Goat versus Arc Red. Limited time to try and save their teammates here, so Goat are going to be licking their lips at the prospect of this one. Could be an easy clean-up for them, but they don't want to over-egg it. Take the respite to heal themselves.
I mean, yeah, Avalanche instantly folded, but the fact that you'd have 2 players getting knocked on Arc Red is just making this so much easier for Goat Team. You got to respect it still. You got to be cautious. They've got the angles, they've got the spray and recoil control to punish that kind of disrespect. Glory going to be brought back to life, has a second opportunity to dominate in this finishing moment. So we're down to a proper 4v4 fight. But look at the minimap, the control of Goat Team. They've got every position, every angle under their reign. Arc Red now, the only way you can really get this chicken dinner is getting rid of those of 2 of the players on this 2-man split. You got 2-2 for Goat Team. If you can get rid of a Yato in particular and Moxie, then that should be an easy wrap-up for the chicken dinner. The thing is, I don't think Arc Red have a lot of nades. They haven't been using any. Oh, actually, I saw a few in the utility bar. Yeah, they're ready to chuck it on through. Fleek first nade coming away of Force. Going to be hitting anyone, and Fleek punished for that. It's going to be Force getting the first knock of the fight. Everything's unfolding poorly, and it's going to be Goat Team finally securing their second chicken dinner here on day 1 of the PMGO EECA Grand Finals.
There you go. An Aurora's celebration as well. Good to see them soaking that one in. So Goat Team coming out absolutely swinging today. Brilliant signs there. Can't believe it, mate. They're chuffed. Look at them.
Yeah, but they're feeling it. To be honest, I didn't even know what was happening at the end of that fight because I feel like all the eliminations happened at the same time. So I was like,
yeah.
Who got knocked or not? I don't know, but Goat were able to survive, so really good setup. That 2-2 split at the end too was great. I do wish they got a little bit more aggressive, as Arc Red did lose 2 players, right? They had 2 players knocked, 2 players up. I think they gave them a little bit too much space to go for the full reset, so that would have been a mistake that could have cost them the game. But luckily enough, they do find that opening knocks in particular Force, I think, kind of enabled the fight to head the direction of Goat Team. But look at that replay. Avalanche, that did not even look like a fight, genuinely here, Jackie. They just got engaged upon and got eliminated in, what, like 5 seconds? That was so bloody quick.
Yeah, rapid, literally collapsed on them. The entire thing just falls over. And they were gone, eliminated and buried in a matter of seconds. But hey, Goat Team, far, far from being eliminated. They are the eliminators out there swinging the scythe, just taking down every team, looking like the GOATs on the battleground. So very good to witness. Focusing as well, you can see why he was popping off after the game. Very happy, not only with his team's performance, but with his own individual gameplay there.
Yeah, so far the greatest of all today is going to be Goat Team. Really good games indeed. But yeah, I actually saw Moxie, what was that, around like 70 damage dealt, so he was the... a little bit more passive. He didn't have his hovercraft, so he was maybe a little bit upset, but that is fine. It's still a team-wide effort with the angles they were getting throughout the entirety of that game, really. It was such a hard transition on the East, trying to make it over the road, but they take fight after fight. They were secluded too, so really there was no option for third parties onto Goat Team, so they're very efficient at knowing what fights they were taking and how to execute them to remain safe while committing to the engagement. And looking at the overall match summary, of course, is going to be 2 airdrops looted. Didn't see a lot of airdrop weapons being used in this game in particular, but it was definitely a good showing. And Goat Team being the first team to get 2 chicken dinners, they should be looking very healthy on the leaderboards, just like Focus, as he is your game MVP on match number 5.
There he is. Yeah, I mean, rightly so. Deserved for the performance he had. Looking like a good bit of energy for this team as well, man. Keeping their heads held high in moments when it's not going as well, and certainly relishing in their victories when available. The energy in the camp looks great for Goat today, which does bode well considering there's only one more game to go, and that's another Miramar. If they can end themselves in a very high position in the rankings come the closer of our 6th game, you got to think that's going to raise some eyebrows at the LAN, Max. The amount of teams that'll be thinking, damn, okay, they came alive in LCQ, but now they're living their movie in finals. We need to stop this team.
I was expecting them to maybe have not as good results as LCQ because the big four teams of Knockout are back in the lobby, but no, they've been doing so good today, getting a win on Erangel and Miramars, the two battlegrounds in particular that you play more compared to your Rondo, so really good. But I'm especially happy to see Focus do well. I want to sing his praises a bit because this guy's long-range spray ability is through the roof. He's second to none in this lobby. He's really good. He's up there with the big names in this lobby of EECA. So good to see him up there. Though he will not be #1 top player of this game, as it will be Fleeky of Arcred, followed then by Icy, then Neos and Star. And Icy, I said it earlier, the jack of all trades. He's good at everything in this game, Jackie, it feels like. And those nades in particular, when fighting on the West, were literally the saving grace for Vicious in that match.
It's awesome to see Icy getting his flowers more consistently, bro. Absolutely. You're very, very fun to watch as an individual of how he's approaching these fights and what he can get up to. Utility legend at times. So big signs of life there. Some regular stars in our top players off the back of our 5th game. Will it be any different on the second outing of Miramar, though? Wonder who's going to be rearing their head there. If teams will be feeling a little bit more antsy, perhaps, considering you realise it's all sort of come to a close quite quick for day one, Max. Been very rapid between games.
Yeah, I think we need to add match 7 right now because I'm not satisfied. We need more action on the battlegrounds here and hopefully maybe just add a little Rondo, maybe. I don't think the dev team would be willing to do that change, but maybe in the distant future that will be happening. Though, back onto the highlights of this game. Amix and Afterlife, not sure why. I do think that maybe this is Amix. Tell me if you agree or not, actually, Jackie. I think this is maybe then disrespecting Afterlife a little bit. Like, oh, it's an easy fight. We beat them early on Erangel. Let's hot drop them. I don't like it, but that might be the mentality they have in this lobby.
I wouldn't be surprised because at times that sort of does feel like the more slapdash calls that come out from Amix, where if they get into a position where they do think, okay, we can bully X or we can attack against Y, they'll go for it, and sometimes they do come unstuck, right? Especially where, I think if they were hitting their true form, that we know they have, very animalistic, right? They can ruin teams at times. Maybe there'd be a little bit more sort of leniency for that to be the call, but it still feels like they're playing at maybe sort of, 60 to 70% of the power level we could get out of this team, Max, in terms of the head-to-head fights. So yeah, I don't know if it's the right call. I mean, Afterlife are no pushovers. They've just had a bit of a slow start today.
It's unfortunate that Afterlife are being forced in these early skirmishes because I can assure you, seeing how the team plays, they do not want to fight early game, but they're just forced in these constant fights in phase 1, phase 2 by Amix. They just can't really escape it unless they drop somewhere completely different, which would force them to reshape the entirety of their game. They work so hard to improve headed into the finals, so they're really put in the hot seat. It's really tough if you're an Afterlife fan to see things go down this way, but it's all because of Amix. Though I would say Amix is kind of throwing right now because you can't even see them on the top half of these match rankings. And looking at this points taken home, it's tied at the top between GOAT Team and Arcred. Uzbekistan in particular, good to see Arcred being, again, consistent, a team that was very high up on the rankings during both Knockout and Last Chance, Jackie, able to put up numbers once again.
Yeah, absolutely. Arcred, they've been causing meltdowns all over the battlegrounds and making it very rough for other teams. Definitely good to see their return to form, looking like a side that can be incredibly powerful. Surprised that was one of the few games where Avalanche as well haven't been able to actually massively spread their wings, right? They've been a real beast on the battlegrounds today. This is the bottom end of the standings, though, where once again, many names of notoriety that you'd expect to be higher up haven't been able to live up to the hype. DG7E7 there, only the 2 points. Amix as well with a nil point, leaving that one in 16th place. A lot of unfortunate signs, which results in more movement towards the top end of our standings. Avalanche in first place with 48 points. Arcred moving up 5 places into second with 47 points, and 1 point behind them is our new third place team, GOAT Team.
Yeah, I mean, this is such a good jump up from GOAT team, able to get an extra 5 ranks on board. But right now, it's domain expansion, Uzbekistan, because right now, ArcRed and Avalanche are dominating right now, representing their country in full stride. 48 points for Avalanche, 1 point behind is going to be ArcRed. They have been looking so good so far. But keep in mind, the point lead is not that big, meaning any team could look to overtake it in our final game of today as we kick off the grand finals of PMGO EECA. Though second page, TT Project and DG77, TT Project in particular, I would not expect them to be on the second half of the rankings here, Jackie, based on their initial performance during Knockout. This is a team that I think is looking to hopefully increase their position in the rankings, right? They're not happy with the 9th position. So we need to see a big step up because right now, their placement points, a total of 9 over 5 matches. That is just not good enough at this stage.
No, it's not, and it doesn't really sort of match their characteristics of what we know this team can do either. It's a big surprise that they're there, to be honest with you, mate. So them finding a way to answer for these mistakes feels like it should be a necessity and possibly a known quantity, right? Because I can't imagine them leaving day one on the second page based on what we had in Knockout would be a hell of a different outcome in my mind. But today doesn't seem like it is full of known quantities. Day one of finals has been all over the shop in terms of predictions when it's come to reality.
For TT Project, it feels like they really pull most of their strength from having a full team, which of course makes sense for most of the squads. But if they lose even just a single member or two, the entire game plan falls apart because it really feels like their strategy is holding positions as a 4-man. If we don't have a member, we have a clear weakness in that position and we just fall apart instantly. So hopefully we can see the full team survive a little bit deeper in the last game and especially going into tomorrow's 6 matches. Though what we're going to be hoping to see is you guys redeeming the Urban Herald set right now in the chat. Make sure to enter the code or also scan the QR code for yourself and you will be getting this one. But again, there's only 75. It's very limited supply, so be quick or otherwise you might just be missing out on this cool skin right here.
There it is down there. It's gone. It's gone already. Like Max said, make sure you scan that bad boy quick. You can always pause the stream and rewind, so it is what it is. Let's move on, though, swiftly into the schedule, of course. As you can see, there's now one team that has completed the unachievable today and got themselves the double chicken dinner. So 2 main course meals there for GOAT team. And that allowed them to move up to 3rd place with a very tiny point gap between them and the 2nd and 1st place team. So could make a world of difference towards the end of the day. Who's going to have that top spot come the closer of our 2nd and final Miramar here, Max?
But this never happens. A team getting 2 chicken dinners on the same day in this region of EECA, or as I saw some people online call it EECA, which is a little bit weird. I don't like that personally, Jackie. I don't know about you, but I prefer EECA. Or EECA can be funny. I don't know. Some people can go for it if they want.
It's not awful. It's not awful. But yeah, it is an interesting one. Unique take there. Ooh, quick switches on the power cable for the phone going on for the GOAT team. Relishing in their prior victory. Bit of giggling there. Good to see smiles all round for this team. I think they've earned it, Max.
I think so. I mean, definitely looking at their overall performances today, they can have a smile on their face. I mean, they've had an absolute banger day, able to eclipse some of the bigger names in this tournament of PMGO EECA. EECA. So it's very funny. So they'll be happy indeed. Same for ArcRed. Though, no, despite being in 2nd place, not looking too happy. Though I'm looking at their Infinix devices here, and I'm only seeing, I think, the base blue / dark color one. They didn't send any of the red Infinix GT50 Pros, which, Jackie, we know as a fact is the fastest color. So, yeah, I don't know, a little bit of a throw there. We need the red devices on board.
I think it's red stripes, isn't it? Not just the color red itself. It's usually the stripes that manifest the increase of speed.
Is it? I don't know. I just like the color, really. If I would get one, I would get the red one. But I'm just
you want the red
it's just
stripes,
a base color.
mate. That's how you go faster. Adds a couple miles per hour or frames per second, depending on your preference. You can choose.
Or just take your Infinix device to the workshop, get it repainted as you want, and just
customize it. You say?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe. We'll see. Maybe the players will come back with some arts and crafts added on tomorrow. But they've got no time for that now, Max. They've got PUBG Mobile to play as we're going in. It's our last game of the day. Match 6, Miramar, number 2 for these teams as we kick it off with one last playing path.
And we already got a win in the bag. Amix will not go to Valle del Mar. Hopefully, they're not going to chase down, I don't know, Avalanche or another team towards Crater Fields or La Cobreria. But that is good to see. We are not going to see that altercation between themselves and good old Afterlife. That's going to give them an opportunity to get more points on board. Looking at the rest of this playing path, it was not really because of the hot drops that we saw teams get eliminated. It was because of the Phase 1 rotations. And it was mainly a knockoff effect of a southern plane combined with a Phase 1 circle high up north towards Cruz del Valle, Torre Ahumada. So hopefully this circle is going to be a little bit kinder to these 16 teams, because last game it was absolutely horrendous. Almost as bad as the Erangel circles. They were also incredibly tough to work with. I'm looking at the drops. Champions going to get a little bit closer to Picado, which is the main drop location of DG. But they're going to be split. I'm looking at Demo in particular. He just stole a car, if I'm not mistaken, from a member of DG. He can't afford to go out early once again. That would be twice in a row on the Dusty Tunes. And as I say that, he gets knocked on the map feed. You can see him, Demo, taken down by DG77. Again, Champions just can't keep a full squad alive, it seems.
No, not possible. Physically not been possible. I don't know why, but that's just the way it's been going for this team. It's been a very slippery slope, mate. The helter-skelter gameplay for Champions, always having someone going down.
I mean, it's rare that you see an elimination so early, you only witness it on the map feed.
I know.
It doesn't happen every day. But they're going to at least move away. The thing is, you need to respect the location of DG, because they always tend to stretch out a bit their drop near Picado to get those car spawns and then get all the cars back into Picado, just so they have more vehicles available for whenever they want to rotate later on in that match. So yeah, Champions need to learn to respect their lobby brethrens, as in DG77. Looking outside of that weird, engage shenanigans happening in the Picado. No big clashes happening on the map. You only have the Los Leones hot drop between 27 plus and also 777, but that's Los Leones, so it's big enough for two teams. And Go Team, because they always drop near Puerto Pariso here, Jackie, they always have access for free for the early spawn point of the loot truck. So again, could be looking to get himself some good airdrop weapons early on.
Yeah, get suited and booted right from the get-go and give yourself the extra firepower to play with. As hey, Goat Team have been pretty consistent on this. Another side that's been doing their homework in terms of the sheer viability of the loot trucks. So let's find out. We'll catch a glimpse of that at some point, I'm sure. See what they were able to scavenge for themselves. Meanwhile, Afterlife, they get their moment in the sun on the stream. We don't see them too much at the minute, mate. Been very, very quiet for the roster. Limited success here and there. No, can't fit that shape into that hole, Windy. That's the wrong shape.
Where does it go? It goes in the square hole. No, that one unfortunately doesn't head into the church area with that car. Oh, the camel
That's
though.
A circle. Ooh.
Yeah. We love the horse strats. The horse meta is real, but what about the camel meta, Jackie? Ooh.
Well, it depends, mate. Sometimes you can have some humps with a camel. It can go wrong.
Yes, you are correct. Actually, yes, it is also being consistent. So there are a few humps, literally, as you take the camel for yourself. Also, a good way to get rid of cacti as you push with it on Miramar. There aren't that many, but there are a few. Sometimes you can encounter them. Actually, I'm really happy with Afterlife. They pulled up northeast very early on next to Torre Ahumada. So they just want to try and get away from the lobby, because Circle, we saw it's very northeast. It's centered up around the eastern edge of Hacienda del Patron. So anyone near Tierra Bronca or Torre Ahumada are going to have a very safe early game. No one should be encroaching on your terrain too early on this match. So I think this is a very good respect play that we saw a glimpse of, right, back in, especially during the last chance stage. And when they don't go out early, they really know how to move their way around the map. So I think that this is going to be the opportunity Afterlife have been hoping for, vying for the entirety of today. And it might just be the last game where they can get some really significant points on board.
Yeah, go out with a bang. Have a nice big finish and, try and do yourself as best of a job as you can of making your life easier tomorrow. As I'm sure for a lot of teams at this point, with how slippery of a day it's been, some of them are all probably already thinking about the chance of that big rondo tomorrow, imagining, all right, let's just come in strong, have a great rondo, we can make up for some of these mistakes, because it has been a bit of a weird one. I mean, even if you look towards the middle of the pack still in terms of the point distribution, still an easy chance to climb the ladder here for a lot of teams, Max. So as much as it's doom and gloom for some, it is still your opportunity to find some time in the sun for others.
The thing is, you could also be very close to the halfway point of the tournament. So sure, points-wise, there's a lot of comeback for literally anyone from the likes of Afterlife, Ozorox, TGM, Mad Esports, Amix. All of those guys could catch up to the top in literally one solid performance, as we do see TGM apparently also did loot San Martin loot truck. But the main issue is we could be at the halfway point of the tournament because of the smash ruling. And, well, apparently this player is going to be not going to be able to reach the halfway point of this game, as that was an easy elimination spotted out by Champion. So they're going to be happy to get that easy trade-off and find just one elim around the map. Bad start for good old TGM.
Yeah, not ideal. Not ideal for the Miracle Boys. Losing your boy Puddin early on. PUBG out, leaving 3 of them left to play with, making it a little bit harder. Yeah, they'll just slowly teeter their way along, jump back in the vehicles and look to live for another day. Avalanche coming down eventually as well, taking their time. No one really nearby to interrupt their slow and steady looting as they begin their move. They'll be content with that. You've got that bottom entry point as well from Aurora that may be more of a topic later on into this one. Usually, if no one tests them early, being able to kind of choose their opportunities rather than being forced into fights. Talking of fighting, Amix, they catch line of sight of the movement from TGM, instantly shoot out a few bullets in their general area, but nothing really to write home about off of that.
Just trying to scare your opposition away, right? Just make it known this area has been occupied by Amix. Please don't get close or we will fight back. We do bite. Now, how do we get? Just going for a quick spray with the M4, making it known again that their position is currently taken up. Teams that have yet to get themselves in the circle, and I feel like it's just always the same names I'm repeating when it comes to slow rotating teams. Avalanche, Aurora Gaming, 777, GOAT Team. Also, you could somewhat say that 27 plus on the outskirts up north of Los Leones. So some teams definitely don't want to try and play center. They want to try and play edge, which is great unless you do have a hard shift, then it's really going to cause you to all go for wide rotation or to fight to claim real estate in that zone. So it's just always, there is going to be a double-edged sword when you decide to play edge. It's just, do you have what it takes to play based on the situation that's coming your way? Because phase 2 is on the horizon here, Jackie, and this game could get absolutely wrecked if we do get a terrible circle shift. Though, what the hell is happening in Hacienda? It's just a 1v1. Kino, parked up, not moving, refueling the car. Hopefully it doesn't get flushed out, though. Please don't.
Yeah, don't let it all fall through your fingertips instantly. Would not be nice whatsoever.
He's fine.
Mate, there you go. Look at this as well. You can suddenly see the great migration for all of our teams with a zone on the move. Everyone trying to set their focus on a better position inside of the zone. The Vicious just making contact with it. Destined to rise here, taking shots though. It's not good for them. That's DG being able to get LOS on and punish onto a few of the players. Ralph's low. It's Darling that falls. And your only best bet is to move up towards the compound. But look who sat there. Amix, you are feeding points their way.
Yeah, just keep going. It's not worth it, but unfortunately doesn't pick up enough momentum. That's PUBG knocked on out by Havlik. Finally, a fight that Amix are taking that does make somewhat sense as they defend their compound. Well, not even somewhat. It makes a lot of sense. They're defending their location, making sure Destined to Rise can't snatch it away from themselves. It's a good similar play also for DG77 in their 2-1-1 split. 2 of the other players over to the east, trying to zone away Ozorox. Ozorox, we're looking to see some placement points. And we've got 12 points so far the entirety of today's first 5 matches. So we got to see a bit of a redemption arc. So they do get right onto Amix too. So Ozorox really just can't catch a break today. It's Zerich for the win with the M4. Well, actually with the Scar. And he does get the headshot at the end to wrap things up. Ozorox now sending a few stragglers back into the fight. Hopefully trying to get himself a bit of a redemption going their way once more. But it's Milaz and Bad Boy, the nades coming up, damaging their vehicle. It's TGM this time. So Ozorox didn't know where to commit, it seems like. Now they got a compound that they can actually try and win a fight. But even then, teams around them have an angle on the compound, so they're just not safe even if they come out on top.
No, it doesn't get any easier. Lots of angles for everyone to be watching you like a hawk. Nades on top. Zerich throwing those in. Seeing if he can cook it to perfection to blow them away. That one will shut down Sanage. So for TGM, it all rides on one man. Retro. He's had to bail out from the rest of the crew, knowing these nades probably won't stop anytime soon. They're still free in the back pocket for Zerich, whilst Neos can get the adjustment shot off into Misha. Ooh, stuck exposed for too long, Zerich. He was confident no one was taking shots towards him, but Amix do eventually get an angle and pull that trigger quite quickly.
TT Project are being very smart of the way they're taking these fights because they're doing it slightly over a ridgeline, meaning in this case, just like we saw with that one solo, if he does get knocked, that's going to be an easy way for him to go back into hide-in and survive. Though, Bad Boy steps up with the Mini 14 and finds that final elimination, able to snatch it from the grasp of TT Project and also Amix from a distance, so able to hog at least a few limbs. That's going to be the first one actually for Ozorox, so they're going to be happy to get at least 1 point on board. So now TT Project would be just about time to reposition because here you have been spotted by good old DG77. Those players are not looking to make any friends in this lobby, not taking any prisoners. So yeah, as they do affect, Zerich's going to respect it. They don't have a good spot anymore. They have to get back to their teammate. It's going to be Effie's in the distance. They're looking to regroup too. But the West is getting a bit hectic here, Jack. As I'm seeing, we have Destined to Rise and we also have Aurora looking to push up. So TT Project might have their work cut out for them.
Yeah, it will be a little bit more uncomfortable there. This is TT Project that have been faltering in some of the more important plays today. So will this be the straw that breaks the camel's back if they get overwhelmed on a bit of a split from multiple squads? Amix, we get their POV for the meantime. This is going to be Spike looking around to try and spot out where everyone else is. And everyone else is fighting. Neos takes the shots straight from D2R, whilst Aurora also take a clash towards the Vicious. So a lot of infighting occurring. Freezer with the reposition round towards 777. Couple nice shots there as they're battling over 777's entry towards the zone, just guarding on the edge of the blue. Six goes for the pickup play back onto free TM and should be able to save him fairly comfortably at least.
It's going to be a bit of a hard exit here versus DG. I would say if you're 777, don't go straight to the zone. Go for the wide Eastern wrap. I'm happy they're doing exactly that. Not worth taking a fight because even if you do win it, guess what? You're still not going to have a good position in the zone. DG trying to take a few little shots at long range. It's not going to result in anything of significance being dealt to 777. So they're going to be on a quick wide Eastern rotate towards Cruz del Valle. So far, enjoying the IGLing of 777. They've been having a decent day so far, in 7th place in the ranking, 38 points, literally just 10 points away from first place, so who knows, maybe if they get a win here, this could be looking like Kazakhstan domination. But over to the West, there's a few teams we need to highlight here in particular. It's going to be Aurora, Vicious, and 27+. They have access to the Western high ground. They have so much value whenever you have circles next to water treatment. So far, they're able to really use it to get a lot of intel. The thing is, the moment it shifts away, 90% of the lobby is going to be look in your direction to deny your rotation in zone. So it's good right now, but you need to have a game plan for when you have to move, which I am expecting, Jackie. We're not going to have multiple hard shifts to the West in a row. Teams will have to leave at some point.
Yeah, your time will eventually come where you'll have to bail. And that's when it could get a whole lot more scrappy. Out on our last Miramar for today. Tapok scoped up, looking for success. Can he line up the moneymaker, though? He doesn't want to reveal himself unless it's a guaranteed connection. The rest of 27+ starting to achieve a bit of a split on this as well. Top side of the hill, just behind the Vicious. You can see a nice collection of established fights.
That's a decent POV to get for DG. Both of these teams, Champion and DG77, don't have to clash. They can just coexist. Be neighbors for the time being, and upon Circle 5, then maybe they'll have to actually encounter each other inside the buildings. They can be friends for a little bit. As GOAT Team, though, they've had an absolute banging day, being the only team with 2 chicken dinners in these finals. They're getting close. They're getting very, very close, actually, to Afterlife. Got to be a bit cautious. whether you want to commit to it or just hold on to your dip, your ridge line, and survive. Phase 5 pop, but actually as I talk about Phase 5, it does pop, and it does go down south heavily. In the center is going to be Amix, also Ozrox's duo of Millaz and Bad Boy. One team to steal on the high ground to the west. Actually, two teams are going to be Vicious and Aurora, so keep an eye out for them. They could be getting a ton of eliminations off the back of that position in the very near future in this match.
Ooh. Nearly. Misha. Can he get him on target? Chip damage is good. There's the knock. Zeruzum buckles over from the bullets that are being spat towards him from that Mini 14. Butcher and Co. looking a bit uncomfortable as well as the boys from Avalanche begin to reposition around, and Tommy's dropped. Knocked for now. A lot of quick cuts here because there's so much fighting going on. Trying to catch the action. As Ravo assists with the reply back over onto 27 plus. Just one man standing for that team. You don't imagine he'll be around for very long as Misha finally gets what he wanted with 27 plus dropping out there. Our second team removed nearly 17 minutes into this Miramar. So a lot of squads fighting over limited play space.
Those were some really good shots with the Mini 14 from Misha, as you said. I'm sure Top would be proud. Oh, I'm hearing the welding gun looking to repair their cars. That means there's going to be a rotation coming up very soon for all of Avalanche. Thing is, there's a lot of teams around them. It's not going to be easy. You've got Mad Esports, you've got Vicious. Actually, Vicious leaving their western high ground in a 2-2 split fashion, leaving Dorian and Koa parked up there, sending Novalo and Icy into engagements. Not sure why they were sent to the trenches as a duo. I think it's a bit of a risk play from Vicious. You could lose members for no real good reason, but they're still going to commit to it. It's Mad trying to get into the zone. One of the players in the background is going to be HESX, taking a lot of damage, but will be able to tank it. Not sure if I can say the case for the rest of the team as Takinov. Good nade from Molodoy. Tommy able to find also one to bio. Mad Esport getting absolutely wrecked and demolished. 6 feet under now. That's going to be it. 3 teams eliminated in this game. 13 teams still alive, but Phase 5 is where things are going to get really hectic here on the Battlegrounds.
Scrapping over the small space, wanting to establish and carve your place into the cover positions, the better angles. It'll all come down to some smooth moves from our team soon. Butcher popping the meds, rest of the squad starting to assess the situation with a duo from Vicious close by. Goat team on the periphery as well, debating how they want to play this with Afterlife right on top of them. Chances the third party here could be big. Moxie with the read back. Spots out a few players, but might go down for his troubles to Groza, who hits that one from quite far on the range there. Nice punish. He was trying to hop back towards the cover of the vehicles, but couldn't get into position. Is this another game where Avalanche show us some great firepower and potentially throw themselves into a good position late game?
It is a good one. We've seen what they could do on Rondo in the past with that 22 elimination chicken dinner bomb they dropped upon the lobby. Oh, this one is going to be a bit of a different kind of game coming their way. They have to move. They're going to be pincered between the 2-2 split of Vicious and the entirety of Goat Team, and also Afterlife to the east. I would say what would be best is or you pick a fight and fully commit to it, or you fully disengage and send it in the zone in the dip you know is free. Thing is, that is also going to be a risky play. So there's no good, safe, passive option available for Avalanche. They kind of have to commit to a big Hail Mary push or a big Hail Mary fight. As actually, as we see this fight unfolding, Tommy a little bit too far away from his teammate. Will get knocked. Still possible to go for the res. But Afterlife, with the pressure they're maintaining, they're just going for these sprays. They know they're not going to hit the shots. They just want to scare Avalanche away. They don't want to commit to the fight. They want to focus on their own rotation for the play zone. The Avalanche, they will go for the quick reset. Tommy should be brought back in this game.
Get Tommy up. Could be a big piece for the squad, but that's if the rest of the squad can even stay alive as it is. Shots on target from all angles. Groza buckles under the pressure. Butcher down and out too. So from one man knocked, it's quickly turning into the entirety of Avalanche being down and out here on the last game of Miramar. Going to be uncomfortable to turn this one around from the position they're in. The Goat team rocking up to the party as well. Focus falls in the fight. Spat out a load of bullets, but no joy on the engagement. Tommy still alive up top. Windy the MVP contender for this team of Afterlife, looking to do something on his own.
Ooh.
Nade in, but near miss, dives back into the driving seat and pulls up onto them, but they're going to pepper him. Goodbye, Windy, as we say hello to another pick for Tommy there. So Afterlife out, Avalanche climbing on elims, but only a duo left.
Close but no cigar. Indeed, that's the end for Afterlife. Windy tried his best, but it was just not meant to be with that buggy solo push. Circle about to go into phase 5 very soon in the next 25 seconds. Over to the western side, we didn't really look at their POV too much. Aurora still have access to that high ground. Vicious had for the first time in this game actually had to leave that kind of nest they created for themselves in this game. So they're back into the lower realm. Might actually look to fight with Aurora, so that could be a cool upcoming engagement to the west. It's now 10 seconds to go for the circle shift, and we see how the story is going to be told. How this game is going to wrap up for all of these teams. 9 teams still alive, meaning you could not make any placement points if you get eliminated right now. And I talk about it here. Jackie, it's Vicious, it's Aurora in a full-on clash and getting third-partied by Amix over to the west. Whoever wins this fight could be looking like the kings of the west. But Vicious are doing so much work. I know only Zyol and Top remain.
It's a big play. They need to withstand the brunt of the damage from Aurora, but 1-for-1 trades make it messy as Aurora fall to just a single player. And Icy, with that cold blood pumping in his veins, is able to withstand at least for now, but will buckle to Spike. Amix stealing the point and denying that squad's survival. And a very broken Aurora's dreams all rely on Joel somehow reviving the squad.
You better buy a drink for Amix after that one. They literally just saved the entirety of Aurora. They got the eliminations onto those players of Vicious, and that allows, as you said, Zyol to maybe save the day for their team, get the reset onto both Doc and Reefus. Top, unfortunately, did get flushed out by Mini 14 earlier. But there's still some hope lingering in this game for the Mongolian super team. Let's go now down to just a solo player. It's Force. The odds of a triple chicken din on the day looking incredibly slim. Though, still able to get some good damage onto Ralph, making a push with those dips. Making sure the Ridge keeps him safe from an upcoming fight, possibly with Amix. But the nade is beautiful. Ooh. Bonks him right on the head. And that will be a hard nade to tank, as that is going to be Go Team. Still top 7 with 4 eliminations. Sure, it's not a big win like we saw earlier here, Jackie. But it's still some consistent points that are going to keep them in that conversation at the top of the rankings.
It's better than nothing. It's certainly better than nothing. And with the other games affording them the luxury of being able to not have these gigantic balloon games every time, they'll still be happy with their overall finish on the day here, as this is our last game. And as it stands, we're coming down to the last few squads that even have a chance to win this one. You can see everyone's looking pretty broken and bruised in terms of the battle of attrition. Aurora do recover all 3 players, but that's all they have, a triple threat. D2R, only the one man, spotted there and blown to bits as he's going to go down. And now we're left with a few squads max. Top-down POV on this one, as you've got champions falling. Now we're back over with Amix.
Oh, we're going RTS mode right now for this one. Able to oversee every position of the players. But of course, it was really good to see the map feed for a second there. You can see the amount of control DG77 have down southeast of the circle on phase 6. So the name of the game ready for them is delay the fight as much as possible. Maybe force Amix to clash on the compound of Ozrox and champions, and then you can maybe convert that into an actual win. Because this is a team that we've seen DG77 struggling to get to the late game because of early casualties. This might just be the start of their redemption here in PMGO EECA Spring 2026. At default, though, locked and loaded on Champion's location. But it's still not a full squad. Even though we see Champion survive, they're still missing out on some members here, Jackie. If they did have a full team, did not lose demo. Minute 1 of this game, who knows? Maybe we could be looking at a possible chicken dinner headed their way.
Yeah, you say that, but now it seems like they're just going to be feeding the chicken nuggets to the rest of the rosters that are still alive and kicking nades, coming right at them. Oh. That should be it. And there we go. Atomic blown away as he'll be taken down by Ozorox. So the 2 Serbians there flying the flag high for the roster to try and get a big finish on this one. And who else would it be but Bad Boy that's leading the Storm? He has been a real powerhouse player for this roster. DG77, Amix and Ozorox then scrapping for the W. Is this where DG once again show us just how powerful they can be in this lobby? It's been tempered today, Max, There's been limited times where they've lived up to the expectations, but in terms of the individuals, it's a great roster, and they should be able to thrive in this sort of encounter.
Regardless of how things go down, this will be the first chicken dinner for any of these three squads, Ozrox, Amix, or DG, which is going to be huge in the early days of these grand finals on match 6. Though Amix with a cast, with a bug, he's sending it forward over the ridges, literally looking for that one solo player, but it takes them so long, everything falls apart. DG creating a massive advantage for themselves, because now they have the man advantage. Spike, Havlik left stranded. That res on Quick is going to be very hard to pull off, but Havlik, you never doubt this guy. He's able to pull it out of nowhere. Get himself one knock of the pre-pod. Yet to flush a single one, but Zadira going solo once again, almost getting taken down again by Havlik. This guy is just the survivor, able to take clutch after clutch, it seems. But Zadira will pull the first aid, though. Backup is here. Havlik going to be left stranded, knocked on down, and it's going to be down to just one solo player. It's Spike for the win here as he takes down an extra one. It's a 1v1, Amix versus DG77, but the third party is in full effect. It's going to be Bad Boy with a mini, almost able to get some damage, but that is still going to be it. DG77 and Ozrox remaining for the chicken dinner of match number 6.
This is Ozrox's opportunity to lop the head off of the DG77 roster and close it right here, right now. They nearly denied the points and got the final knock with Bad Boy's peak from the Mini 14. But it's all down to Nomi. Realistically can't go for the pickup play on his teammates. But can he somehow win it in the 1v2 clutch? That's the question. The rest of the roster's watching on here, as you can see with the IRL POV. Bad Boy with the adjustment to flash out another man, so the opportunity of saving his friends is smaller and smaller. Wants to rotate back round through the smoke, maybe go for that one pickup play. They're not necessarily pushing him, they're not charging in, so maybe he feels confident now that he can reset on the fight. Ozrox giving too much respect there to Nomi, so now they're back against the 2v2.
It actually makes sense because Melaz does not have a single nade. He's got, I think it was one grenade, one Molotov, no nades. If he had a grenade, I think he would be a bit more confident to push onto that initial knock on DG, onto Zadira. But not having a nade in a finish like this, when you got so many dips, nook and crannies to really hide your character model, nade would really do an entire world of difference. So it's going to be down to the angle. Those 5 nades in the hands of Nomi, that actually could be the difference maker for DG. They're still not in zone, so Milaz clearly trying to play the long game, trying to hold them out in the blue zone. And actually, Bad Boy, maybe trying to smoke his UAZ. Could be good to have a vehicle here to try and get some insight. A bit of extra mobility, making you a hard-moving target for the likes of DG. That will be very complicated to convert into a point. But they make over to the ridge line, and again, the nades in the hand of Nomi. This could be what gets them that win.
Could be. It could be indeed. First 2 nades thrown out, though. Spams them down into the smoke, using a bit of that utility for some early scouting, not getting much from it. These are a prime-time piece of kit for this roster, so if they run dry, it could be risky. That one's nice for the chip damage onto Milaz. About half HP left for him, tucked in behind the tree. Still 6 nades between the 2 players. And Nomi taking risky peeks, trying to get a read onto the situation. Going to be ushered forward eventually. Which duo comes out on top? Who gets the chicken dinner to close down day 1 of the finals? A lot riding on this. But who will be our champion in this match? Bad Boy wants to advance. He's got the smoke wall in front of him to shroud his peak. Nomi with a pre-fire just in case he can connect. And Zadira's eyes locked in on the same angle.
It's going to be a risky peek on Whiskey Peak. We'll see if the bounty hunters can claim their treasure. As DG, no, Bad Boy's right there. And I was going to say, you should just try and nade those smokes. But very smart Bad Boy. He's staying very far back. He knows this is just asking to get naded. Actually, they go for the long throw. And because of that, it's going to zone him away from the rest of these smokes and making that rotate so much harder to pull off. Bad Boy, in a world of hurt, able to join up with his comrade of Melaz. With that nade, good bounce, puts him down to about 1/3 HP. But now Nomi Zadira getting forced by the blue zone to go over the lip of that ridge. The Molotov spreading far and wide. But Melaz hopefully will have enough time to heal it up, because here Nomi Zadira could have to go over the ridge line. This is going to be so hard to execute, especially when you have no more nades in your arsenal. He's going to be out in the open. Bad Boy yet to go for his own spray, and he lets it happen. Nomi makes it to the next point. Now, hey, having to go on over to the CQC, it's Nomi with the DBS, finding Melaz. Bad Boy left in a 1v2 scenario, but he's got 3 nades in his backpack.
Yeah, couldn't play off his teammate, now has to do it individually. He will switch to the nades and throw out the first. Scopes back in as well, but the 1v2 peek inside of the zone. I think it might just be all said and done here as he looks uncomfortable in this encounter. Throws one nade towards Nomi, gonna swing back in, but no, not happening. The Serbian side can't find the victory on that one, as we will see DG77 erupt as they close down the game and walk away with our last chicken dinner of the day here on Miramar.
I wish we saw if Bad Boy was in nade range. I think he might have been slightly out of nade range, but those 3 nades, especially when Nomi and Gyro getting forced over the lip of that ridge, would have been an amazing opportunity for him to use it and actually even maybe not get knocks, but at least get a bit of damage so he can easily spray transfer that 1v2. There was an attempt, but it was just not going to be enough to take it from the hands of DG77 that really had their work cut out for them, Jackie. This was not looking like a DG77 win. They had this hardest transition away from the edge of the circle towards the center, towards Melaz and Bad Boy, and even before that against the likes of Amix, and yet they prevail, they stand strong, and show that they mean business in these grand finals. And this feels a lot more like the DG77 we saw initially back in that knockout stage.
Yeah, way more, absolutely. Showing us some good signs of life, bringing the fight out, great decision making and slowing down the pace when they needed to as well. So wonderful to see the response from a better DG77 side there, keeping their heads level to close it out, mate. Nomi with 8 elims and 1001 damage, living up. Massive display from him, but the entire squad has a ton of power. Freezer, Zadira, we know at times they're the left and right hand of this team, throwing out fists, and Prepod as well, always good for some smarter plays. So DG77 back to their winning ways, even if it did come late into the day, Max. Late is better than never.
Feels good, man. Feels good. I mean, especially for Nomi, because in the past we've seen a lot. If there's one player that gets knocked out and flushed early in these matches, it tends to be Nomi, especially back in PMCO Eastern Europe. But no, in this tournament, Nomi's able to just increase that survival time by a significant amount and get some good numbers on board. So really happy overall with Nomi and DG77. As here you go. Here are your match summaries. Someone got apparently a 383-meter longest elimination, so quite on the lip of that render distance. So good at whoever was able to get that knock and flush for themselves. But overall, this game, I can tell the 2 Miramars in particular here, Jackie, were very tense teams, really avoiding to take any unnecessary fights. Unless you're Amix, then they'll take every fight under the sun. But outside of that, the pressure is at an all-time high, and maybe it will be enough to make some diamonds.
Yeah, exactly. Don't crumble under that added pressure. Instead, blossom into something incredible. And for some of these players, we're certainly seeing that. They're being able to contend blow for blow quite nicely and show us a great degree of understanding of high-level PUBG Mobile here in our finals. For some of the other squads, it's been a bit too much today. It's felt like they've had the sea legs. They've looked a bit shaky. So got to get that ring rust off, Max. You can't afford that to happen when we go back into tomorrow. This is we touched on, right, with Smash Rule being in effect on day 3 and the lobby looking a bit topsy-turvy today in terms of the prediction of who should be really cruising through, well, some strange things could occur.
That clock is ticking, and it's ticking fast. You got to make sure you don't miss out on big points tomorrow, because otherwise, as you said, with the Smash ruling, you might be so far behind that comeback is going to be almost impossible if we do get a team get the Smash on day number 3. Though, here are your top players of today. It's going to be Nomi, Bad Boy, Keynote, Spike, and Force. And champions, I'm starting to get a little bit frustrated here. Can we see the full team alive? Even on their chicken dinner on Rondo, it was down to a duo there, making it their way through on that map. But here, they lose a player early on trying to fight over a car with DG77. Got to try and fix that, champion. Their late game can be some of the best in the lobby. It's just the early game that really is a hindrance for the entirety of that roster.
Yeah, they're not very risk averse. They are just kind of throwing themselves into the blender very early on, and it's been quite an issue for them, which is odd, man. We've had some crazy ups and downs from them, right? Knockout, they look like everything was on point. Then we get into LCQ, and it's like a slow, awkward bubble. And then we get back here, and it's kind of all over the shop once again with them just going for these early fights, but not even converting them this time. So I don't know what to think about this team, Max, but I imagine for themselves, for the players, limited time before tomorrow kicks off. As soon as today is over, around now, you imagine they're probably going to have an opportunity to talk amongst themselves as a team, but need to figure something out, unpack what's going wrong, try resolve these issues.
And we already lost so many big names in like all the multiple regions that led to PMGO EECA, right? We lost the Mongols, we lost the side of Major Pride, we lost Virtus Pro back in the Eastern European region. I would like to not lose an extra big name. Well, I say that. There's only 4 slots. So we're definitely going to lose some big names actually at the end of these finals, but it would still be good to see a bit of a resurgence from this team trying to come out in triumph in day 2. But I can't wait to really see the leaderboards and see what's happening there, because from what I've seen in the past, right, it was very top-heavy during the knockout stage, and especially also during the last chance. I feel like it's a lot less top-heavy right now, Jackie, where a lot of the teams are actually very close in terms of points, where one good game, not even just a good game, a good top 5 with a bunch of eliminations could be enough to push you up in the top 4.
No, absolutely. It feels like quite a lot of our squads aren't that far away from lapping each other. So opportunities to rise quickly could very well be there. We'll get confirmation of that soon once we see the graphic. But of course, towards the bottom side as well, you're thinking about some of the big names that possibly should be higher up the rankings are obviously down towards the tail end. So it's all in a bit of a weird, wacky area that could result in, like we touched on, that Rondo game, both Rondo games yet to come, actually being an even bigger backbone for some of these teams, where if you don't follow through massively on Rondo, you might be leaving yourself hung out to dry. We'll come back to that, though, in the days yet to come. For now, let's have a look, of course, at the overall match ranking and see how things went down. This is our point distribution from our last Miramar.
Yeah, a little bit top-heavy here too, 24 points, followed up by then 13 by Ozorox, AMX 11, and Champions getting 10 to their name, and then it slowly trickles down to single digits. But yeah, very good for the top 4 in this game in particular. AMX able to actually get to the late game. And it's even more frustrating. Sorry, I had to complain about Champions, and I'm going to complain about AMX. AMX, this is what you can do as a full team in the last few phases of a game. Stop the terrible early game hot drops, because if they keep doing it, I'm going to say I don't want to see them in top 4. If they adjust it, and it's literally just down to making one single early game decision. If they adjust it, top 4's in the cards for AMX. They just need to stop going for those big ego fights and just chasing down Afterlife. It's really not helping out on their cause. Though, second half of the game rankings, Vicious, only 2 points, not able to really capitalize on that initial success we saw earlier today.
Yeah, no, not particularly. It was better to see them actually at least get a few points, but feels like that same firepower that was shown wasn't followed through, which was a bit of a shock. You know, I was expecting Vicious to come out absolutely swinging here in the finals, but it is what it is. Let's check out our overall rankings then. How do the final standings look? Well, I tell you what, Avalanche in the top spot at the end of the day.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking really good for Avalanche being now a first place team with 54 points. Even though I'm being critical about Champions, you know, they're still able to get themselves 52 points. So I feel like they might not care too much about my criticism, but it's just like they could be in first place. Okay, I'm going to shut up. They're still in top 4. It's still really good coming out from Champions, GOAT team, and Artcred. If we stopped right now, those 4 teams would be the ones to represent the Eastern European Central Asia region at PMGO main event over in Jakarta. But DG77, this was the best time for them to get an absolute banger performance with that chicken dinner. That's going to make them jump an extra 5 ranks up in 5th place. But one team that we have to highlight here has a bit of a middling performance today, I would say, Jackie, would be Aurora Gaming. They tend to start relatively slow, so I have high expectations for tomorrow, but 8th place, they need to send everything they have in their arsenal tomorrow to make sure they make it to the LAN event of PMGO.
Yeah, make sure that they're able to lock in that spot, get themselves comfortably out there to Jakarta and bring the firepower. Would be a very cool storyline there, so looking good. Bottom end of the rankings on screen now as well. Surprising to see some big names here, most notably TT Project, that of course have slipped themselves down to 11th place, falling from 9th before that last Miramar of the day with 32 points. AMX, again, it's been kind of up and down the whole damn day, so we'll just focus on their run tomorrow. Let's, of course, move on, though, to our MVP of the day, our Infinix Daily MVP, and fair enough, Default deserves it. He was the one-man army in some of our games, racking up upwards of 8 elims all on his lonesome. 16 in total, 2.3k damage, looking very good, even with that low survival time.
Yeah, I was going to say it's grinding my gears that we see an MVP with 17 minutes of survival time, just like Doc. Is very Doc-esque in terms of numbers on his stats chart. But still good on default, right? When it comes to the fragger, I think every player on Amex has the potential to get some clutches up their sleeve. Default is being one of those bigger names on the squad here. He had some good engages earlier versus the likes of DG77 and even onto Afterlife. But yeah, that survival time currently is the main hindrance for Amix, so that's one stat they've got to try and focus on heading into tomorrow, but really happy overall with their performances. Will he still be the number one tomorrow? That is going to be the big question. But when it comes to top elimination leaders, of today, it's going to be Default, followed by then Kino of Champions, then Fleekir, Icy, and Rusenboss. So good spread of players from different teams, so good to see a bit of disparity here on this graphic.
Yeah, seeing some movement, seeing some new faces, some different qualities in terms of our overall elim leaders, and a nice mixed bag of teams, which is always a bit more fun there. Goes to show quality of competition in terms of the fighting is at a relatively good position for all of our squads. So shout out to these 5 players for giving it the absolute beans on the server today. Rusen obviously very fun to watch there as well for 27 plus. That actually had a better run of things, even with, when you think back about the last time they played some of these top 4 teams that re-entered the lobby, it was way worse.